yeah, so I think I'm just gonna get started with some of the questions that I got. Sadly, I don't think anybody who asked questions is actually on here right now. But let's see. We'll start with someone who asked, "What exactly do you do? What was your training about? Proud of you, girl." That's so sweet. Okay, so training is kind of a loose term for what I did. Oh, hello. So basically, the training was emails because they have like Live Action has so many spots around the country. They kind of they just want to be able to reach anyone who wants to be an ambassador, and so they do that through emails. So it was, let's see, 3 weeks and 10 emails that I got, and each of the emails was just information about Live Action, the company, why they were founded, who founded it. Lila Rose, shout out to you. Just information about abortions, what they really are, animated videos about what happens during one, statistics, personal stories, just all of that stuff, trying to get me really well informed so that I can talk to people about this issue. Not just out of emotion, but out of facts and statistics and logic and science, because I feel like these days people are really being driven by emotion and they're letting that control their lives, and it's just not a good thing, because even when facts are shown to them, they still deny that and keep living in the way that that they've been living, just purely out of emotion, and it can really bite them in the butt when facts come face on and they start coming out. So anyways, I wanted to do this video mainly to talk about what I've learned, maybe what I've already, some things I already knew. I learned a lot. Yeah, and answer any questions that you guys have. Also, if you have a question like while I'm talking and you want to know like something specific that I'm talking about, or maybe a question just popped up or whatever, like feel free, throw it out in the comment section and I'll try to respond to it right now. If hopefully I'll go over everything that I want to, but if I don't, I might do a second video. We'll just see how this one turns out. So anyways, yeah, that was what my training was about. The other question was, what exactly do you do? So right now I've gotten one opportunity that I was able to take action on. Governor Pritzker of Illinois, this was a few weeks ago, but I got the chance to email him because he was about to pass a bill that would basically make it okay for partial birth abortions. So like if a baby's being born, that makes it okay to kill them, like right then. And so I got the chance to email him, ask for him to veto that ban. Sadly, he didn't. He let it pass through, so that was a sad loss for us. But anyways, I just get emails with opportunities like that to try to speak out, try to make a voice for myself and for other pro-life people. I think I'll also have some exclusive opportunities to attend certain events, but I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't gotten much information about that. So yeah, that's about all I know right now. I've only been a Live Action ambassador for like a month, so I don't have that much info on it, but I'm just telling you what I do know right now. Hopefully you'll keep up with my posts about what I am doing, and yeah. So let's move on to, okay, so here's another question I got from someone. This one's more of, I'm just gonna wave at everyone who joins. This is more of a scenario that they wanted to know what I would do in this scenario, and honestly, it was a very hard one to answer and to think. I really had to think about this one. So credit to the person who asked this. So here it is. Hypothetically, let's say you work in a fertility clinic. The fire alarm goes off and you start to run for the door. As you're running out, you hear a child screaming from behind a closed door. You open the door to find a 5-year-old crying for help. Across the room, you see a glass labeled 1,000 viable human embryos sitting on the table. You open the, sitting on the table. You have time to grab one, but not the other. Do you grab A, the 5-year-old child, or B, the 1,000 viable human embryos in the glass jar? So, I did have to take a while to think about this one, but honestly, when it comes down to it, I'm going to save the 5-year-old. Not that I don't believe that 1,000 viable human embryos aren't actually human, but the 5-year-old has already affected 1,000 lives that have already been living. This 5-year-old child, has parents who care about him or her. They already have lived some of their life. They have had experiences. They'd be able to remember that. Also, if I came out of that with 1,000 viable human embryos and was holding them, could you imagine me going up to that 5-year-old's parents and trying to explain to them? I'm pretty sure I'd be tried for murder. I just left a 5-year-old to burn. So that's my answer. Really don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. It's it's just a horrible situation. But so I would save the 5-year-old. Okay, so the next question. Okay, actually, I think this is my last question. I have a few things that I wanted to go over besides this, so we're not done just yet. But hi. Okay, so this is a really big question that a lot of people ask, and it's in huge debate right now. It's always been in huge debate. This is something that people constantly bring up in the abortion debate. So somebody asked, just curious, why do you believe abortion isn't okay if a girl was raped? So this is a very sensitive topic because obviously rape is a horrible thing. No one should ever have to experience that, and we should not be excusing that act in any way, shape, or form as something that's not horrible, because it is. And we need to recognize that and value the people who have been through that experience, because it is very traumatic and it is a disgusting thing that some people have sadly been through. But I don't think that abortion is the right thing to do when a woman has been through something like that. The reason I think this is because you can't take an act of violence and another act of violence and put it together and somehow make everything okay. That's not how it works. If a woman has been through a traumatic experience like rape, she needs to heal from that. She needs to have people supporting her and there for her. But if she has another traumatic experience such as abortion on top of that, that's just creating an obstacle to her healing. That's not going to help anything. It's not going to make what happened go away. It's not going to help her forget what happened. It's not like it's taking away the memory. She's going to have that memory forever. Taking the baby away is just something even more painful that you're putting on top of it. I actually have 2 stories, and this is from Live Action's website, but they were recorded from real people. These aren't fake stories. One of them is from they're both from women who have been raped. One of them kept the baby and the other one didn't. And so I'm going to read you their testimony. So this first one is from Ashley, who had an abortion after being raped. She says, after I was raped, I felt a lot of fear. There was shame that I felt because of what had happened to me. But after having the abortion, the fear and the shame grew even more. It turned to guilt. I didn't choose to have sex. Someone else chose to rape me. But I did make the choice to have an abortion. I made the choice to kill my child. I had to go to bed every night knowing I killed my child. My life was no longer about the rape. The rape to me didn't even matter anymore because every day I had to live with knowing that I killed my child. It wasn't a rapist child, it was my child. And then Live Action added this little snippet in between. Abortion is not the path to healing for victims of sexual violence. Instead, abortion adds more violence and trauma on top of the violence the women already endured, perpetrating a death sentence on another innocent, vulnerable party. There are powerful testimonies from sexual assault survivors who choose to parent their child conceived in violence. So this testimony is from Liana. She was raped and she kept her child. She says, I was brutally raped by 2 men and became pregnant. I kept my baby. And when I had my baby girl, she gave me hope and she helped me go on in my life. When she was a little girl, she used to tell me, Mommy, thank you for giving me life. Thank you for keeping me. That's when I realized that she was the one who gave me my life back. She is now a 22-year-old woman. She's a beautiful woman, very caring, and she helped me to move on. She helped me to heal. I never saw my rapist through my daughter because she showed me that it was a different person that had nothing to do with that night. So these are just 2 stories of many. There's actually 2 videos of basically the same case, but 2 different women. One who was raped kept the baby, one who was raped and decided to have an abortion. They both basically said the exact same thing. The one who kept the baby found healing in their baby. Their baby helped them to move on, and they saw beauty and joy in that child. They didn't see their rapist in them at all, which I think a lot of us think that's what would happen. And the person who aborted their baby, both of them said that once they did that, the rape didn't even seem to matter that much anymore. It was the abortion that hurt them. It was the abortion that was keeping them from healing, that guilt that weighed on their heart, because that was an action that they did. That's not an action that somebody else did on them that they had to heal from. They decided that, and they knew that it was wrong. They felt that it was wrong the moment that they did it. Can you imagine going through such a traumatic experience and going through another one that made the first one kind of go in the background? That's insane to me. I do not support abortion in any cases, even in rape, and that's why. Also, I think this was a point that I heard a while ago, and it really struck me, and I just have to share it with you. If after cases of rape, if the baby is killed, then rapists don't even get the death sentence. So if we are giving the child the death sentence, then that means the rapist has more rights than the preborn children. That's what we're doing when we're telling victims of rape to get their child aborted. The rapist is getting more human rights than the baby in the womb. How is that okay? The preborn child is innocent. It has done nothing wrong. The rapist should totally be convicted. They should be held to the full extent of the law. Yet the preborn child, who's completely innocent in this, is the one that's being killed. I don't support that, and I never will. I know that a lot of people still don't believe that, they still like to call a fetus a clump of cells to take away its humanity. It's just, that has always bothered me, but after reading a lot of scientific research articles recently, I'm finding out that science is catching up with the fact that life begins at conception. That's now a scientific fact. That's not me just saying it out of emotion. That's not Live Action telling me that. It's me researching my own scientific journals and articles and coming to the honest scientific conclusion that life begins at conception. Because the moment that the sperm reaches the egg, that is its own unique set of DNA in itself. Sure, it's living off of the mother's nutrients, it's living inside of the mother, but it is completely its own being. It is its own human being inside of the mother. Just because it's living inside of the mother doesn't take away its humanity. Just because it was conceived in rape doesn't take away its humanity. Just because it was conceived in a way that somebody didn't want doesn't mean the child is any less human than any one of us. The circumstances of conception have nothing to do with a child's humanity. And I'm saying a child because a fetus is a child. They don't become a child once they're born. They don't become a child once their heart starts beating. They have a separate set of DNA from the very beginning. Science has proven that a fetus, a baby, is its own unique person from the moment of conception. I posted that a few weeks ago, and I had somebody respond to that saying, I don't think you should be posting something as truth when in fact it's just your opinion. And I told her basically what I had just said, and I didn't get any response. And that has happened to me multiple times before. I will post something about it, anything of this topic. Many times I have gotten people responding back to me and, just trying to disagree with what I'm saying or whatever, and I only have to say one response, and that one response will shut them down. They never respond to me. I don't think I've ever had somebody respond to me. I've had people direct message me because of the picture. I say something, I know they've seen it because you can tell on Instagram, and they don't say anything. That's very, I don't want to say surprising. It's not surprising at all to me, but it's suspicious that so many pro-choice people close their mouths once they're given some facts. I think that everyone is being run by their emotions, and yes, it's a hard decision to have a baby. That's a huge thing, but no, that is not the decision of the mother because it is not her own body. It's the same thing as saying it's a decision between, if it's a mother and if she has a toddler that she can't care for anymore, she can get rid of it if she needs to. No one is going to advocate for that because the toddler is a child. It doesn't matter that she can't care for it. It doesn't matter if there's a certain, bad circumstance that the toddler is in. No one's going to advocate for the mom killing the toddler. I see it the exact same way because the fetus is a human. It's a human being. The problem is a lot of people will agree, okay, yeah, a fetus is a human being, but it shouldn't be given basic human rights. And I understand where they're coming from, but honestly, I feel like you're just trying to take your emotions and form it around science that's coming out because you don't want to give up what you feel to wholeheartedly believe in the facts that are coming out. Because when people say that they don't want to say that a fetus has basic human rights, even though they agree that it's a human being, well, every other time in history that has happened, it has turned out catastrophically. And I've actually posted this on my Instagram. There's a video about this from Live Action that they made just years ago when women weren't able to vote, when we weren't able to own land on our own, when we weren't able to work. All of these things were because we were human beings, but we were denied personhood. We were denied basic human rights. Or what about the Jews in the Holocaust? They are human beings, but they were denied basic human rights because everyone thought they were less than everyone else. Or even when America was during, when they were all segregated and black people were seen as human beings, but they weren't given basic human rights. I honestly, you can look it up all you want. There is not one single time where somebody has agreed, yes, this is a human being, but they deny them human rights. There's not one single time where that has turned out well. So sometimes I have a hard time, explaining this because it's so clear to me, but I know that it's not to other people, and I don't want to be rude or mean to anyone because I know that, if you believe that abortion is okay, then you might believe that just as strongly as I believe it's not, and I need to understand that, and I need to understand from your point of view. why you believe that. I don't want to yell at people. I don't want to get mad at people for thinking a certain way. I respect you. And I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear what you believe. And I want to try to understand it, because I don't. I really don't. Yeah. So if you or a friend are pro-choice, and you feel very strongly about it, like, please message me and tell me why. Explain it to me. I'm not gonna, now it's paused. Okay, we just paused because it was reconnecting. But anyways, I'm not gonna be rude or mean or anything. I honestly do want to know, and I want to try to help clarify some things, because I do think that a lot of people who are pro-choice don't have the information that's out there. They don't have all the information that they need. Oh yeah, this is something else that I wanted to share with you. So, it wasn't too long ago, something called the Dublin Declaration was signed by over 1,000 medical professionals, and this is the basic statement taken from the Dublin Declaration's website. So, over 1,000 medical professionals signed this statement, basically saying that yes, they agree that this is true. As experienced practitioners and researchers in obstetrics and gynecology, we affirm that direct abortion, the purposeful destruction of the unborn child, is not medically necessary to save the life of a woman. We uphold that there is a fundamental difference between abortion and necessary medical treatments that are carried out to save the life of the mother, even if such treatment results in the loss of life of her unborn child. We confirm that the prohibition of abortion does not affect in any way the availability of optimal care to pregnant women. So, that last statement in itself just said, if abortion was made illegal, it would in no way affect optimal health care to pregnant women. So, that's not even an argument anymore, to say that abortion is necessary because of health reasons. And 7% of people get abortions for health reasons, but that's mainly because doctors are pushing them toward that. They say, oh, there's this problem with your baby, why don't you abort it? And then they go along with it. But it's not because there's serious risks to the mother. It's because a lot of doctors are just supporting it, and they're pushing along people who really don't know any better. But honestly, I looked up some statistics this morning to write down, because, as I said in the beginning, I try to not ever talk from emotion about this subject, because a lot of people are, and people can't be trusted if, everything they're saying is just from what they feel. It has to be from something tangible, or something, some statistics, some science. There has to be something behind it that's proving true what you're saying. So anyways, as I said, 7% of abortions are because of health issues. 6% are other, not quite sure what that means. Less than 0.5% are victims of rape. I know that sounds like it might be kind of off, but honestly, it just seems like more, because that's all anyone is talking about in this topic. And the only reason they're talking about it is because they're trying to make that a gateway into making all of the others okay. If somebody can agree with them, oh, okay, it's, abortion is okay in victims of rape, well, then they're just going to keep going further until they win their whole argument. That's why anybody's bringing that up. I haven't heard one person who has argued with a pro-life person who has brought up rape that agreed that all the others are not okay. Yeah, so anyways, it just seems like kind of an off statistic, but it's really not. And also, yes, there's a lot of women who are raped, but think of the women who actually got pregnant from it, and then think of the women from them who actually got an abortion from it. And compare that to the amount of women who got abortion just because they wanted to. And, the circumstances of conception were okay. So less than 0.5% isn't not really that astounding when you look at it in terms of that. It's a true statistic, and it's not fake. It was taken from a reliable website. So the rest of it, 86% didn't want a child. So they weren't ready. It will interfere with school or work. They don't have the money for it. Just wasn't ready for a child. That is most of abortion cases, and I don't see many people talking about those. Everyone's talking about the less than 0.5%, but nobody's talking about the 86%. And the reason that is because it all comes down to self-control, which is kind of sad that we have to talk about that, and nobody wants to. But I'm going to talk about it, whether it's awkward or not. Because most of the people who are advocating for abortion is because they don't want to stop having sex. And it's baffling to me that that's such a hard concept for people to understand. Just don't do it. If you're not ready to have the kid, understand having sex there's a consequence of it. There's many consequences of it, but one consequence could be pregnancy. Now, I'm not telling everybody, nobody should have sex unless they're ready to have a baby. You can do whatever you want, but you have to understand that if you're going to make that decision to do that with someone, you have to understand a consequence of that could be pregnancy. And as an adult, you have to be willing and ready to accept that consequence. You don't get the chance to just turn away from it by killing a child. That's not okay. And I will never agree with that. I respect people that are pro-choice, but I will never respect their opinion that abortion is okay because it's killing an innocent child. And it's in most cases, it's because somebody made a mistake, they don't want to deal with it, and so they think that killing a child is the right thing to do. They're so willing to run away from that they're willing. I can't wrap my brain around it sometimes because I don't understand how someone can think that's okay. Now, I know that a lot of arguments for that is, the adoption and foster care system suck. And I get that. I know that it might not be the optimal way for a child to go, but you don't get to decide whether they should live or not to do that. Children who are in foster care or going through adoption now, they're alive and doing it now, you don't get to decide, oh, well, they're in a bad condition, so let's just kill them. You don't get to do that. And also, if that's what we're upset about, then why aren't people putting their time and energy into fixing and bettering those systems and stop putting their time and energy into resolving it all by killing the children? That's just a lazy, very, very dangerous and toxic decision that people are just making instantly, and they're not thinking about it at all. Let's stop and think about what we're really doing. I know it sounds like it's not that bad. You just think, oh, well, I'm pregnant, I'll just get rid of it. And that's what people think. But a lot of people have changed their mind once they see a video of how an abortion is done, because it brings into reality what's really happening. That it's a baby, that it's being torn apart limb by limb, or it's being burned alive basically by chemicals, and it's being torn out of the uterus of the mother, and usually afterwards they have to scrape the uterus, and a lot of times that causes a lot of medical issues for the mother. So even when women get an abortion, not only do they have to deal with mental stuff after, but a lot of the times they have to deal with medical stuff after, because a lot of crazy stuff happens in there and they're not that careful, to be honest. So I think there was one more thing that I wanted to go over. Okay. Oh, I wanted to show you, I got an email from Live Action, and it was about a little boy named Jackson who was born at 18 weeks. Now, keep in mind, the earliest a child has been born that they've been able to keep alive is, I believe, at 21 weeks, which is insanely crazy. That's like half pregnancy. Like, you go through pregnancy like half of it, and then they can be born and they can still survive. Like, that should be proof in itself that they're enough of a human to save, you know, to give them basic human rights. But this little boy Jackson was born at 18 weeks old. Sadly, he didn't survive. I'm gonna turn it around. This is a picture of him right when he was born. You can see like each little individual finger. You can see his little nose. You can see his lips and his eyes and his little veins that are running through him. And this video is incredible. They took a video. He was still breathing, and you can see his chest moving. His chest just slightly moves up and down, and you can see him breathing. And right there, like what we're looking at right now, this is what abortionists are tearing apart. This is what abortionists are killing. And it's just so sad that people just, they want to do what they want so much that they're not even willing to look at these tiny little preborn children that are so cute and they're so innocent, and they're just willing to kill them. I cannot believe that. Planned Parenthood alone kills over 300,000 preborn children each year in abortion. Each year. Like the picture I just showed you, that's exactly what they're killing. 300,000 of them. I mean, talk about like children's lives matter, like people's lives matter. Yeah, they do. So let's protect them. Let's start protecting them. Let me see here. All right, so I think I'm probably gonna wrap this up pretty soon. So hopefully after this goes out, I'll get more questions or something. And then I'm hoping I'll be able to do a second one, because I know for a fact that there's probably things that I wanted to say and didn't. So, yeah, I recorded this. It's gonna go up on YouTube. I think it's gonna stay on my Instagram for 24 hours. I've been looking at like who's been joining, and I don't think anyone who asked a question joined, so I hope that they'll be able to see it. If you guys have any questions, like anyone who has seen this or anyone who is watching it now after the fact, like please direct message me on my Instagram. You can comment on this video right now in the last few minutes that I'm going to be on here, and I'll try to answer that. But yeah, I think I covered most of what I wanted to. I know it's a very tough topic to talk about, and a lot of people have really strong feelings about it, and I respect your feelings. I respect that. I respect that you feel strongly about it. I know that some people have really good reasons for feeling certain ways about it, and I want to talk about it. Like, I don't want to just shoot you down and tell you you're wrong, because, you know, I feel like a lot of people are doing that. So anyways, I see a few people joining right now. If you don't know what this live stream was about, I was just basically talking about live action, how I'm ambassador for them now, what that means, what my view is on abortion, why I'm pro-life, just kind of going into the details of what has pushed me into that direction and why I feel so strongly about it now. So anyways, I hope I get more questions about it. I love questions. Please just don't be rude. Just be respectful, be kind, and whoever is watching this, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, like, please just be kind to each other. Like, we don't have to be enemies just because we see differently on something like that. Like I said, I respect you. I might not respect that opinion because I do believe that it's murder, but that reminded me, I actually had one more question from somebody that I needed to talk about. Let me see where it is. Oh, I got a question here. What would you say to those who say it's not easy for babies to just be adopted? Okay, so I kind of talked about this a little bit ago, but basically what I said is I know that the adoption and foster care systems aren't great, but I think that our energy should be going into fixing those rather than just solving it by killing the babies. Because if somebody is up for adoption and they're not being adopted, like, we wouldn't just go off and say, okay, like, let's just kill them. You know, like, you wouldn't say that. So we wouldn't say the same thing about a fetus, because a fetus is a human being, and I believe deserve basic human rights. And we can't just solve something like faulty adoption and foster care systems by killing preborn children. That's not the solution to anything. So once we forget about that as an option, we can start focusing on bettering those systems. What exactly does Live Action do? I understand they are a pro-life organization, but what do they do? Okay, so Live Action is basically there to spread the word about abortion. They're not just going up to people and saying, like, hey, you believe in abortion, that's wrong. Like, no, like, they're investigating and they're giving facts and research to people. They're basically just sharing information so that people are well informed and know exactly what abortion is and why we should believe it's not okay. They have a lot of, I think their most popular videos are, they're like animated videos of what an abortion procedure is. And a lot of people change their minds on abortion just by watching a video like that, because a lot of people just think the idea of it is great, is like, you know, getting pregnant, like, well, that doesn't matter because I can just kill it, you know? Like, it sounds like an okay idea, I guess, but once you see what's actually going on in that procedure, it's really traumatic. You're seeing this little baby who, you know, has a brain developing, who has a heartbeat, who has these arms and legs and all of that, and it's literally being ripped apart to be killed. So anyways, they just share truth that abortion industries won't share. They've gone undercover into Planned Parenthood and called Planned Parenthood, and because, you know, they don't want any bias. They're not just going to say things about Planned Parenthood if they don't know if it's true or not. So they're actually going in and investigating for themselves. What they have found out is Planned Parenthood is more than willing to cover up child sex trafficking. They've had people go in acting like pimps and asking a Planned Parenthood, like somebody that works there, asking them if it's okay if they bring in a girl who's 13 because she's pregnant, like, to get an abortion and stuff like that, and they're trying to just cover it up for them so that they can come in and get that abortion done. There's so many videos out like that, and there's also been somebody who's called them and asked if they could make a donation for abortion specifically for Black babies, and they were really excited about that donation. They were over the moon to get, like, any donation, but they were totally down for accepting money just so they could kill specifically Black children. There's a lot of stuff like that out, so honestly, Live Action is just trying to pull out the truth, and they're trying to expose it because the media won't. They're covering a lot of stuff. They always have, and so we can't trust that. And Live Action is just trying to be a voice of truth out there, just to get information so that people are well informed and know everything that they need to know before making a decision. So yeah, I appreciate that question. I should have gone more in depth about that earlier. Okay, so I said before I had another question. I think it's right here. Okay. Somebody asked me, do you support jailing or any kind of punishment for a mom if abortions become illegal? So, it is cool they're spreading truth like that. Oh, I should check that one out. I haven't heard of that. Thanks. Okay, so yeah, somebody asked if I support jailing or like punishment or anything for like women who have been through an abortion. I don't. I know there's people who do. I couldn't imagine punishing someone who's been through something like that. I do believe in punishment for the abortionist because they are medical professionals and they know very well what they're doing is killing a human being. They might claim that it's not, but when they're selling it for human parts, they know that it's a human because they're selling it for human parts. Yes, that's something that they do, and it's really sad and it's disgusting. But yeah, so I support like punishment for the abortionist. But the women who get an abortion, I mean, if they know exactly what they're doing is killing a human being, maybe, but like you can't go up to everyone and figure out what they actually knew to be true, because a lot of them actually don't know what's going on and they're very emotional and they're just not thinking through it. And so anyways, I don't think women who have been through an abortion should be punished or put in jail or anything like that. I do support, I do think that abortion should be illegal. And so I think that if a woman performed an abortion on herself, yes, there should be a punishment for that because it's illegal. And she would have known that. But that's not reality right now, sadly. So, yeah, there's my answer to that. Also, there's a lot of comments about making abortion illegal and how, it's not a good idea because if you do that, then women are just going to do it illegally, which is, like, really unsafe and stuff like that. That's true of anything. That's true of literally anything. Oh, most things that are illegal because they're unsafe or they're bad. And a lot of people do them illegally anyways. There's a reason it's illegal. It's trying to protect people. So yes, if it's illegal, women might just do it. Or yeah, if abortion is illegal, women just might do it themselves illegally. But, you can't really stop that from happening. Just like you can't stop somebody from buying a gun illegally. You can make something illegal, but you can't enforce that literally no one is going to go against that. It's just not possible. Legal abortion procedures can be very dangerous too. So, yeah. That was my last question. I think I got them all now. If anybody else has a question, go ahead and ask it while I'm kind of closing out here, and I'll try to answer it. If you have questions, like, even afterwards, I'll either just, like, text you and answer it, or, like, maybe do another live stream depending on how many comments I get. Again, just keep it respectful. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Just tell me why. I think it's important to know why we believe things, and not to just feel like it's a good idea. So, if I said something that offended you, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend anyone. I don't want to offend anyone. I'm just trying to help spread the truth, and I'm trying to not put my opinion out there. Yeah, I'm just trying to use the information that I have through live action and just looking at research articles. And yeah, I think that's just important to be well informed, especially if you feel really strong about something, and especially about something like this, because it's literally a life and death situation. So, yeah, I think that's about it. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, so I think we're just gonna close out. I'll be posting this on YouTube. I guess you could comment on there too, but yeah, hopefully I covered any questions that anybody else had, and I know this is a huge topic, so there's a lot of stuff that I left out. One time I posted something about the Dublin Declaration, and somebody responded to that saying, like, as if this is the only reason someone gets abortions. It's like, okay, I know it's not, but I'm not gonna post a 2-hour-long story going over everything. It's part of the reason that I tried to do a live stream, because I wanted to cover more of the issues. But if I post something, I know that's not the only reason somebody would get an abortion. I know it's a very, very broad topic, and I'm trying to cover all of it without bombarding people, because I know it can be annoying when people get super political online, and I don't want to do that, because I believe everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I respect everyone's opinions except for this topic. I can't respect your opinion because I believe it's murder. But yeah, I'm sorry to get like political on here, but I really think it's a moral issue, and it's not just in politics. So yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna close out now. I hope this was informative, and I hope that you learned something, and hopefully you share along this information to literally anyone around you who's asking or wanting to know. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you're having a wonderful summer. Thanks.